Oh, hey there. Hi everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Now in today's video, I want to talk to you guys about mistakes to avoid as a first-time pregnant mom. So some of the things I did when I was pregnant that I wish I didn't do or avoid. And this video is for all those moms who are expecting or planning a second baby and things that they can do better when they're pregnant. So let's get started. The first thing I want to talk about is your OBGYN. Right? So when you get pregnant, you have to choose an OBGYN. One, a lot of women go with the OBGYN that they've been seeing before they are pregnant, or a lot of second time mom end up going with the OBGYN that they had in their first pregnancy. And if you're comfortable with that, if you loved your OBGYN, great. But you should not feel pressured to go with your gynecologist who you had earlier. A lot of gynecologists have different specialties, so it's important to assess who you have the most chemistry with, who you're most comfortable with, and the most important, someone who understands you, your concerns, and your goals from your labor and delivery. So for example, after I had my first baby, I ended up switching my gynecologist because I felt that the first time around there were things and concerns that probably were not addressed the way I wanted to. So for going forward, for all my future concerns or for my wellness and checkup, I decided to switch my OBGYN, and that's perfectly normal. So I completely recommend you to not feel pressurized and go with someone who you are comfortable with, because it's a 9-month journey and it's very important that they understand you and you feel comfortable and that your health and your baby's health is safe in their hands. So that's the first thing I would say, is avoid feeling pressurized to stick to your OBGYN that you've always seen. The second mistake I would say is avoid spending too much money on baby clothes and baby related items. I think you get so excited as a first time mom and you want to be like completely prepared, so you buy all these things. I remember buying these onesies for my daughter that I really liked, and I thought they were cute, but they were not really practical when she was born. So I actually ended up not using a lot of the clothes that I bought before my baby Nishka was born, and I had to re-buy clothes that were more suited to her when she was born, because a lot of them had, it was difficult to put through the neck, so I preferred going for the magnetic ones or the zipper ones after she was born, and this knowledge I did not have during my pregnancy. So my recommendation to all the first time mamas would be buy the essentials, like for example the crib, your dresser, your car seat, your stroller, and some basic clothes that you would need in the first few weeks of your baby being born, because one, you'll also get a lot of gifts from your registry if you have one, and from friends and family. But secondly, once you have the baby, you'll actually realize that your needs and requirements kind of differ. So it's always best to pace your buying and spending once your baby is born, because otherwise you'll buy too many things and you may not end up using a lot of those stuff. So that's a mistake I made. Mamas, keep this in mind. Don't spend all your money before the baby is born. The third mistake that a lot of moms make is buying breast pumps very quickly in their journey, right? Now, I always say it's good to be prepared, but breast pump is something that you must check with your insurance first to see what they cover. For example, my insurance actually covered the LV pump as well, which I did not know, and then I ended up getting a Spectra for them, which was great, but I eventually bought an LV. If I had known earlier what my insurance covers, I would have actually got an LV from them and got a Spectra, because that's cheaper. So one, it's very helpful to check with your insurance. And two, when you start breastfeeding, I think at the start it's very important to establish your supply. So you probably need a stronger breast pump, and eventually then you can move to portable, which might be more convenient if you're working or traveling. But also there are so many breast pumps in the market that it's important to kind of assess what suits you the most and your requirements. So I always tell people, research, talk to your insurance, talk to your lactation consultant, and then make the decision. And that may differ after the baby is born as well. But always check with your insurance before buying a breast pump to see what they can cover, because that will save you a lot of money. The next thing is being very adamant to follow a certain birth, labor, or parenting style. As first-time moms, we read all these articles, what's the best birth plan, what's the best way to go. And as much as I would encourage all the moms to advocate what they are comfortable with, you have to know that the whole process of labor and then parenting, it's a very unpredictable journey. It's a journey which there are a lot of things that are thrown at you last moment that you may not predict. For example, in my case, I tried for vaginal delivery. I wanted to, nurse my child. But a lot of these things didn't go as planned. I ended up having a C-section. I ended up pumping more than nursing. And, I had to be open and flexible that things may not go the way, you have dreamt of or you planned. And that's okay, because parenting itself is very hard. And if you are hard to yourself, it makes things just tougher. So have a plan on how you want to move in the next 12 months, but know that it's a very unpredictable journey and it's important to be flexible. Seek the help and support you have around you, and maybe talk to experienced parents or talk to your doctors to see what suits your health and your baby's health the most, rather than what your dream was. And I had certain things in my mind that did not go as planned, but I trusted my doctors, I trusted my support system, and I was very flexible in terms of how things were supposed to go. The next mistake I made is that during my first pregnancy, I was like, oh my god, I can finally eat whatever I want. I'm eating for two. Eating for two is actually a huge mistake a lot of first-time moms make. And I'm not saying eat what you want. Sometimes first trimester is really hard, and you just need to eat whatever suits you, whether it's healthy or not. And it's something that you should speak to your doctor. But in my case, I actually had gestational diabetes in the third trimester, and even though gestational diabetes is not something you can control because it's placenta related, I do feel I would have fared a little better if I had paced my eating and if I ate a little bit healthier. Eating for two is often a myth. I think there's only a certain amount of calories more that you need during pregnancy. So when it comes to diet and when it comes to exercise, physical activity, I always recommend moms to have a conversation with your doctor, because they will advise you the best, knowing your family history, how your pregnancy is progressing, how you're feeling during pregnancy. So I probably would have reduced my junk food a little bit and had more healthy food, because I did end up having gestational, even though that's nothing related to the food you eat, but it would have made me feel a little better. And in general, a lot of what you eat and how your pregnancy does impact your postpartum as well. Again, it's not to make things tougher. I think it's very important as a mom, you're comfortable and you do what makes you happy. But at the same time, when it comes to diet, speak to your doctor. So important, because there are so many things that can happen during pregnancy, and diet actually plays a very critical part in it. And the reason I also stress on this is because if I had spoken to my doctor, which I did in my third trimester, I should have done it earlier. My diet needed more protein, and I wish I had more protein early on, but I wasn't aware of it. So there are a lot of things that can happen in pregnancy. So it's very important you speak to your doctor on what diet would suit your health needs the most. The next mistake is announcing your pregnancy at a certain time out of pressure. This is an important one, because a lot of people talk about, oh, you should wait 12 weeks to announce your pregnancy, or you shouldn't announce it too early, or whatever. I mean, do what you're comfortable with. The first trimester is tricky because a lot of miscarriages happen in the first 12 weeks. But pregnancy in general, all 9 months, is unpredictable. I had the best first trimester during Nishka, and my third trimester was really, really unpredictable and hard. And there is no predictability at any point. So if you, mama, want to announce it early, go ahead. If you don't want to announce it till you deliver, that's also great. Do it because you're comfortable and in a way that aligns with you and your husband's thought process. So, all this 12 week, 15 months, 20 months at a certain time, it needs to be decided when you want to announce based on your comfort. So a lot of people tell you everything, but you do you, mama. I think that's very, very important. I had these notions in my head of when I should announce it or when I should not announce it. But I realized at the end of the day, it's very important that you as parents are comfortable with whatever decision you make. The last and the most important one is pregnancy can be a anxiety-ridden, stressful journey because you're constantly worrying about your baby's health. I found myself constantly counting her cakes and being worried if I didn't get enough cakes, or there were a lot of these moments when I wasn't sure what's going on in my body or in my stomach and the baby is okay. And a lot of times people will push back, your nurse or whoever, they may push back on ultrasounds, or they may push back on your concerns or say it's okay, it's normal, this happens in pregnancy. But the one thing I want to tell you is that only you as a mother will know in your gut what's concerning and what's not. So if at any point you feel that things are not going the way you have imagined, or you're feeling stress or anxiety, to know what's happening with your baby, I think it's very important for you to advocate for it. So if you want an ultrasound and they're saying no to you, you can go somewhere else, or you can insist on your ultrasound. I think it's very, very important to advocate for your concerns and issues, because a lot of the symptoms can go unnoticed, or a lot of the symptoms can go as a normal pregnancy symptom. But if your gut tells you otherwise, I highly recommend you to advocate for it. I had certain issues in my pregnancy. Some care team was like, it's normal. Some care team listened to me and ended up doing some of the checks that I wanted, which gave me a mental peace of mind. So I always recommend to all mamas, no matter what anybody says, listen to your gut, listen to your intuition, and advocate for your own health and your baby's health, because that'll be critical to your journey. So these are some of the mistakes I would avoid as a first-time pregnant mom. I hope to do some more of these videos of lessons I learned, tips that I learned as in my parenting style, on my breastfeeding journey, on my toddler, baby-led weaning journey. And I hope these helps you, because a lot of the help I got is from other moms, who had videos or who shared their tips, and I learned so much. So this is my little way of sharing things that I learned, hoping that it benefits someone. So hope you like this video, and follow me on Instagram, socialnupur, for more tips and tricks. And I will see you next time. Till then, lots of love.